Hello everyone, this is Chris and welcome to Mithral Brews. Well, it's the early weeks of September and many of us dungeon masters are dusting off the book, loading up the old D&D Beyond and pulling into the Mists of Barovia to begin our Curse of Strahd campaigns. We might be doing a Halloween one-shot. The cool thing about Curse of Strahd, every playthrough is a little bit different depending on your group, or even if you have the same group. Your approach might be completely changed based on the cards and the Toroka readings. What we don't have is we don't have Curse of Strahd for our FoundryVTT. So no matter what you're going to do, you're going to have to do something like import or install modules. And there are a lot of really good creators out there that have already done some things for you in FoundryVTT. But it takes a lot of work to maintain those, and sometimes they don't work on the latest edition, or there are just some modules that they require you to install in order to use their own module. And I find it just easier to show you how to make Curse of Strahd work for you without all that. That's the purpose of my channel, Mithral Brews, to show you how to make your own content without all the extras. So if you like what you see, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up if the video has helped you, and let me know in the comments what you would like to see more of. So let's get into building our most important NPC for the Curse of Strahd, and that's Strahd von Zarovich himself. We're going to do that by using no more than the SRD content. Now, Curse of Strahd is using the 2014 rules, and so the legacy content is where we're going to get most of our information from. We're also going to be comparing and looking at the Strahd stat on the D&D Beyond page. We're going to not change anything from this stat. We're going to keep everything the same for this video. By doing so, hopefully I'm showing you that it's not that hard to create your own custom monsters. So even if you're not just wanting to bring Strahd over, or you want to make the other NPCs within the Curse of Strahd book, maybe you want to bring NPCs from the Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, it's not that hard to make those monsters without having to import anything. It's all pretty simple, but it just takes some time for you to input all the information. All right, so let's get started. First things first, we're going to click the Open Compendium browser. We're going to bring this up to the top corner here because I'm going to use this multiple times throughout this build. I'm going to click on Monsters, and I'm going to look for the Vampire. Now, one thing you might want to do is go down and make sure that we're moving the system reference document 5.1 as our primary lookup. And so we see the vampire here. If we click on the vampire, even the little image and token, the top-down token that you get from the Forgotten Adventures content that is loaded as free as part of the D&D 5e system, even has a Strahd Strahd representative of the vampire. I do believe the Monster Manual 2014 used Strahd as the image of the vampire, so that's what they have set up. So you don't even need to change the image if you really don't want to of the token. We're going to import that into our world. Let's go ahead and import one other NPC. We're going to import the Mage. If we switch over to look at the stat block for Strahd von Zarovich, he is pretty much the 2014 vampire statted for the most part, with the only addition is spellcasting and the wolf form that he can shape change into and make attacks with. You'll see that that's the only thing we need to change. If we scroll down here, we'll see that he is a 9th level caster, so we're going to bring over the 9th level caster, which is the Mage NPC. And we're going to bring that over. And that's it. That's all we're going to have in our world. That's how we're going to build Strahd. We're going to close the Compendium browser here. We're going to open up the vampire. And then let's just start changing the stats of the vampire. Of course, the name needs to be changed. And then we should update the CR. His intelligence has increased. We're going to go over here. We're going to change his skills. He has Arcana expertise. He has Perception expertise. We have stealth expertise. And to get expertise, you just need to get it to where it has the circle, the middle circle and the circle ring. And then he just has religion as proficient. So it's 1 click, 3 clicks to get those other skills to expertise level. We close that. So now we see that all of his stats match the Strahd stat block. Then we go down to languages. We're going to add common, draconic, elvish, giant, abyssal, and infernal. Remove the text from the vampire stat. And then this is all set. All we have to do with shape changer is we're just going to go here and we could cut and paste the text from D&D Beyond, or type it if you're from using it from a book. I'm going to go ahead and type it. All we need to do after Tiny Bat is add a medium wolf, comma, or, and then right after it says into flying speed 30 feet, we put in wolf form. His speed is, his walking speed, sorry. His walking speed is 40 feet. And if we want to match all the other formatting, make 40 feet bold. That's all we really have to do. We hit save. One thing you can do is if you see if the vampire, you could go through everywhere there's the word the vampire to change that so that it says instead of the vampire put Strahd. You could cut and paste Strahd into each one of those lines, or you could just put in the 2 left brackets, the word lookup, put at name, and then capitalize, and then 2 right brackets. And you could cut and paste that through everywhere where it says the vampire. And if we click on that, we'll now see that if Strahd von Zarovich, so it's grabbing the name here. You might, if you just want to put Strahd, it might just be easier to cut and paste the name Strahd into all those spots too. I wouldn't even bother. I just leave it with add the vampire. It's not really that important. All right, so shape changer's been changed. Layer actions, we're going to edit the layer actions. We're going to, again, I'm using D&D Beyond, so we're going to cut and paste things. We're going to grab the text for layer actions. We're going to bring this over and edit, and I'm going to paste Control-Shift-V to paste without or with formatting maintained, and I'm just going to make some changes. This is now going to give me the bullet points, and that's pretty much set. That way, if it just has the text, I do want to add a few things. So I want to create some of the dynamic links and the enrichers, what are called enrichers, to make the roles, or for me to, as a DM, to call the roles quicker. So right where it says DC 20 strength check, I'm going to put 2 left brackets. I'm going to put a /check. Strength, and then right after strength, I'm going to put the 2 right brackets. I'm going to do the same down here for charisma. Now I'll put a link to the wiki, the D&D 5e wiki. It's a great resource that anytime you are essentially creating content, you should have that open. So for saves, we just /save, and at the end of charisma, we put the right brackets. If we hit save, so now I have enrichers that I can quickly request a role in the chat. Another way to find the wiki is in your system under game settings. You will see right under the game system, you'll see the wiki, and that will take you right to the wiki page. What I'm doing right here are enrichers, making it easier for you to just grab information from the right out of the text of a journal or a sheet like this. The other thing is you'll see that it has the statistics of a specter. So one thing we can do, if we have this magic link matching thing highlighted, I'm going to highlight specter, And then there it is. I'm just going to grab the Spectre and drag it down. You'll see that it comes from the 5e compendium. If I hit save, I just want to check here. You'll see it knows that it grabbed the 5.1 version, not the 5.2 version. If you want to make sure that you're always getting the right version, because if you have a lot of compendiums, for instance, I have the Monsters Manual, and then I also have, let's say, the MCDM's Flea Mortals that might have a Spectre. So sometimes when I highlight, let's say, Spectre, there'll be like 5 or 6 of them. I don't know which one it is, so I'll just grab the I'll do it from the compendium browser, and so I'll show you how to do that. So you could highlight it there, or you could just go over here in the compendium browser, again under monsters, and then search Spectre, or no, run Shadow. I've got it filtered to the 5.1 version, and I'm going to click highlight that, and then just drag and drop from here. It covers the, or it replaces the highlighted text, and then if we hit save, so now we have the Shadow Inspector. And I could do the same for remove curse spells. So I'm going to go to spells. I'm going to type in well, it has greater restoration and then remove curse. So we could do the same thing. It's not filtered, but I didn't set the filters, but greater restoration right there. I'm going to highlight it here. Drag and drop the 5.1 version down, and there you go. There's the greater restoration. I do the same for the, where is it? Remove curse right here. So I'm not going to do that right now. You get the idea. We're going to close this. He has no regional effects, but he does have the Heart of Sorrow feature. Rather than making it a feature, it's more of something that can just be put into the details under the biography. We're actually going to grab all of the biography details from D&D Beyond, starting with right under the main header, and we're just going to highlight all of this all the way down to layer actions, and then we're going to copy it, then bringing it back over to Foundry, we're going to paste it. Now, the one thing I didn't do this time is I didn't paste without formatting, and the reason I did that is because I want to keep this table. So I'm going to highlight all of the text. I'm going to click this little clear formatting, and there we go. Now we still have the table. Problem with doing it that way is that it will, it kind of it removes all the like line breaks for the major paragraphs from D&D Beyond. I'm not sure why it does that, but it does. So sometimes you have to go through and find those line breaks and place those in. It also added these ordered lists. There's no real way of changing that without going into the HTML. So I would click here, and where it says ordered list, I just change a U to an O to a U to make this an unordered list. Both the beginning and closing brackets. Save that, so now it's an unordered list. We could even edit this and go to the statistics, and let's say make this a heading 4 so it stands out. Then we go here, we look for Heart of Sorrow, add the header, break out the header here, and then do the same thing. We can change that paragraph to a 4 heading, and then if I wanted to, I could break up the paragraphs here. Not a big deal. It's just really more for information. Another thing you could do in this roll table, we can put a right bracket /roll or /r for short, and then put the other brackets on the other side. And then when we hit save, that gives us an easy way to roll the dice. It gives us a result here. Now, even better would be to build your own roll table. I'm not going to show you how to do that. That's totally content for another video. And then you embed the roll table so it's easy to go, easy to click. You could even then build a feature that has the roll table specifically built into it, and you might even be able to set up a macro that you would drop into your hotbar at the bottom that rolls for just when you use Strahd. Then we're going to go here, and that's pretty much it for the features. Everything else stays the same, but the one feature that is called out in the stat block is the spellcasting feature. So as we already kind of talked about, if we look down, Strahd is a 9th level spellcaster. And as I said, we imported the Mage as someone that we can grab the information from, because the Mage is also a 9th level spellcaster. So to make this easy and to have a good handful of spells already in the description, you could drag and drop spellcasting from the Mage stat block. Another option would be to go under our compendium packs. Only in the Legacy pack can you find the monster features, which is a nice little compendium that the developers made to, allow you to grab and drop features into custom monsters that you would make. So if we just type spellcasting, you'll see that that's right here. If we look at it, it has the formatting so that it's easy to grab and drop that into the NPC actor. You would have to then do some of the linking and setup that way if you want. You could just leave it as typed text like they have in this description. So as they have this in the description here, we could do that. And I'm going to keep this simple. So I am going to use that. We're going to move it over here. We don't need to do these links within the description because we're going to put it in the spell book. If I click here, I could edit this and then go through here. I could just grab the information from the stat block. There you go. So now I just grabbed it from the stat block over there, and then we just go through here. Instead of wisdom, it is intelligence. So now it looks just like the Mage stat block, right? We could have just dragged the Mage stat block, but then we would have to change all the spells names in there. Because we don't need to do that when we open up the spell block over here. We can edit this and move the NPC spellcasting stat down to intelligence. We're going to type in 9th level, and there's the list of spells. Going back to our compendium browser, we're now just going to open up the spells here. We're going to filter the 5.1. He's a wizard, so we're just going to look at wizard spells. We could keep it like this, or we could filter it to the level. So for instance, cantrips. And for a reminder, we might pop out this by view item, the spellcasting feature. So now we can read which spells he should have. So he has Mage Hand, he has Prestidigitation, and then he has Ray of Frost. And there you go. And then first level, we just switch this from 0, to 1, and then add those spells. So Comprehend Languages, Fog Cloud, Sleep, and so on. Now, if we close this, one thing that we're going to see is that it looks like he's already used all these spell slots. All you have to do is give him a long rest. Imagine that, giving a vampire a long rest. So give him a long rest. It'll recover all the spell slots, and then you can. He's ready to go for combat. Now we go back to the features. So that's adding the spellcasting. The next thing we're going to do is change his attacks a little bit here to match the attacks from the description in the Strahd stats. So we know that he can multi-attack using both the vampire and the wolf form. So we're going to edit this and go or wolf. That's really all we have to do for that. So it's more for your knowledge as a DM, so you can look at it and say, oh, well, you can do that in the wolf form too. We can change this because he can use his unarmed strike in wolf form also. But his unarmed strike does have other changes too. So instead of, if we look down here, instead of bludgeoning, Strahd's strike does slashing damage. And then if we go to activities, we can click the attack. This pops up the attack activity, and we're going to go to effect. You're going to see these are the effects of the attack activity is to do 1d8 slashing damage because we updated the details. but now we're going to add an additional attack. So we're going to do 4d6 necrotic, because Strahd, that's the additional damage that he does. So now you will see here that there's 4d6 necrotic damage. One thing that you could do, because you'll see that instead of dealing damage, the vampire can grapple the target. You might want to put a grapple effect into the attack. So if we click here, so let's first start by making the attack. You'll see that this is what it does. You in the card, it gives you the attack and then the damage roll options. So it does the damage part of it, but it doesn't do a grapple option. So what you can do to improve this stat block from the way it's set up by default is we're going to edit this. We're going to go under the attack and we're going to apply an effect. We're just going to click here. So it's going to do the unarmed type attack. We're going to click on this and we're going to edit this. And we're just going to type grapple. And then we're going to add the status condition, grapple. Grappled, submit changes. So now when you make the attack roll, you will see the grapple effect. So we hit normal attack. If the attack hits, so if 18 was a hit, rather than rolling damage on the token, you could add the grapple effect. So let's just grab a player token here. If this was a hit on Bugsy the Test, we would just apply the grapple condition, and there's the grapple condition. So that's one way to improve by default what comes with the SRD features, to add a little bit more dynamics to the feature attack. Another thing you could also do to improve this, I would add the extra activity. So here's the activity. Let's add an extra activity called a check. And then we're going to call this escape grapple. And then the skills that you can use to escape grapple are acrobatics or athletics. And then we're going to change the DC. I do believe it's 18. And then we're going to close that. So then when the player's action or the player's turn comes up and they want to attempt a grab or escape, you could click on this ability and just post the grapple DCs into chat so that the player could quickly roll by selecting their token and clicking this button, and it will roll against that DC. Well, that's it. That's pretty much Strahd von Zarovich in using nothing more than the 5.1 stat blocks of the vampire. And again, you could have used the mage by dragging the mage spellcasting over, but adding the spellcasting feature, adding the spells, you could fill it all the way out to 5th level and make a few changes in the text, and you have Strahd von Zarovich ready for your Curse of Strahd one-shot or your Curse of Strahd campaign. I will make a follow-up video to this that will show the 2024 version of Strahd von Zarovich that uses essentially the same concept. There's a few things with the vampire in the 2024 version that makes there's some big changes to that stat block, but let's not get too complicated and start talking philosophy of what Strahd should look like and what he shouldn't look like. Let's just use the same concepts of how the Strahd von Zarovich in 2014 was built and make it in 2024. So I'll see you in that video. That should be my next video. If you like what you're seeing in the content, please remember to subscribe to the channel so you get notifications of when I put out new videos. I'm going to continue to make content like this. Please put comments on what you would like to see. If you would like to see creation of species or backgrounds, classes, other NPCs. I'm here to help you understand FoundryVTT for your games. I will also be doing showing content of myself prepping and showing you how I set up an upcoming adventure that I'm trying to build into FoundryVTT using an old school 2nd edition Ravenloft adventure that I really always enjoyed running, and I think I can turn into a 4-hour or a one-shot or a 2 4-hour session one-shot adventure for new players. Until then, let all your brews be tasty.